Why do people use photo lenses for video? Let's talk about it. What's good, people? My name is Courtney Hill. I'm an LA-based cinematographer. I edit and direct music videos, shoot mini docs, and a little bit of everything, honestly. And if you like those kind of things, feel free to stick around because we just might get along. All right, let's hop right into it. Why do people use, or what are the benefits, I should say, of using a photo lens for video, right? I mean, this is part 2 of a video where we covered cinema lenses last time. Right now, we're going to talk about photo still lenses. And of course, like I said before, when you first go out and buy your camera, you're probably going to buy a photo lens because you can, of course, shoot video and also take stills with the same lens. So a lot of people view it as a 2-in-1, but there are some disadvantages like we discussed in the previous video. I won't talk about them here. You can feel free to go ahead and watch that video. I'll link it somewhere. But I'd say the number one reason why you would want to go with a photo lens over a cinema lens is autofocus. So if you have a camera that offers reliable autofocus, and I mean like good eye detection, like Sony or Canon, you know, God forbid Panasonic or Blackmagic decide to offer autofocus in the future. Right now, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the other people that have really good autofocus. No shade. I actually owned a Panasonic GH4, GH5. I've shot on a lot of cameras. I've shot on Blackmagic as well. But autofocus is a reliable feature that Sony and Canon get right most of the time. And if you are in the situation where you need autofocus, like say for instance you're running gun, music video stuff, you have one focus, one person in the frame, and you don't have to worry about it locking onto someone else's eyeball. There's those situations you'd be crazy not to use autofocus, and autofocus is a very reliable feature for those people that are shooting running gun content that are one-man bands that have to compose the shot, pull focus, worry about audio, all the other things, all the bells and whistles, worry about lighting, worry about directing on top of that, energizing the crowd, energizing the people, the extras, directing the person on camera. The last thing you want to worry about is not being in focus. So that's when autofocus comes in and saves the day. So autofocus is the number one reason, I'd say. Next up is the lightweight and durability of most photo lenses. Now this is a Sigma Art series. They're known to be tanks, I guess you could say. But in most cases, photo lenses are lighter because people have to, constantly have them up to your eye and holding the lens. You don't want a heavy kit when you're, doing event photography or sports photography or, family photos, wedding photography. You don't want to have big heavy lenses, even though most of the time we typically carry like a 24-70 and a 70-200 to have that range for events and wedding photography. But most of the time, a lot of photo lenses are made to be light and durable because that I already said why, so that's why. But so that's the difference between a still lens and a cinema lens. Cinema lenses are babied. Typically they're in nice fancy cases. There's someone that's actually in charge of doing lens swaps. That's their whole job, is to make sure these lenses are taken care of. So they dedicate a portion of the budget for a lot of these bigger productions to make sure someone is doing lens swaps, and their job is to make sure the lenses are where they're supposed to be. They're close enough to the DP and director so that way they can make quick swaps, and they're taken care of. They're not broken, they're not dropped, they're babied. Photo lenses a little bit different. A lot of people are out in the field, it's running gun most of the time, and there's room for error. You're typically a one-man band, so you need your autofocus to be on point, you need your lens to be light, you need a light, durable kit, because you never know what elements are going to be out there in the wild outside. Typically cinema lenses are on set, right? So they're enclosed, controlled climate. Photo lenses, you're out in the elements. It might be raining, it might be a thunderstorm, a snowstorm, a hailstorm. You just don't know what's going to happen. So your lens needs to be light and durable. So that's another benefit of still lenses over cinema lenses. Next, let's talk about the look of still lenses. So typically with still lenses, you get a very uniform, sharp, clean look. There's very little to no distortion, especially with primes, and really honestly variable lenses as well, like the 24-70s. These lenses are kind of made to give you like a perfect, sterile, clean, clinical look. A lot of people end up putting like filters on their lenses to give it more of a filmic soft look. Like on this lens, I actually have the Prism Lens Effects. This is the Dream Effects, I believe. It's not labeled. I think this is one of the first production units of the Dream Effects. Yes, this is Dream Effects. So it gives it a softer look, typically, which is good for portrait photography, which I use the 85mm a lot for. I just love this focal length. It's probably one of my favorites. The 85, 35, 50, honestly, I like them all. If it's a prime, I like it. So with these lenses, they're intended to give you a very uniform look because you don't want it to change drastically from photo to photo. You're probably doing burst photography where you're taking like multiple shots at once. You want to make sure that you get a consistent enough frame or consistent enough photo so that when you take it into the post, you can edit it easily. Whereas with cinema lenses, they have a bit more character. You get more of a filmic atmospheric look with cinema lenses. So next up, let's talk about cost, which is also pretty subjective. It really depends on where you're getting your lens, also what kind of lens you're getting, what trim level. Say for instance with Sigma, there is the Art series, which is the like high-end version for their lenses. Then there's also Contemporary, which is more so like the smaller, compact, more inexpensive lenses that they offer. And then also for Sony, even there's like G Master, which is the high level. And then you have like the 1.8s, the Gs. Then you also have like, you know, the F4s. Those are all, you know, at the respective prices. So it really just depends. But you get more options, I would say, on the photo side when it comes to still lenses. But you can also find inexpensive cinema lenses as well that have great character and great durability, great optics. For instance, SLR Magic. This is the 50 1.2, and then of course I'm filming on the 25 1.5, T 1.5 and T 1.2. But these are great lenses for the price. They're small, compact. You'll see a lot of my work, my upcoming work, being filmed on these lenses, and those are relatively inexpensive. I want to say it's like $500 a lens, maybe, which is actually really cheap. It's cheaper than this 85 1.4. I believe this lens goes for like $1,000, $1,200 maybe, and this one is $500. So but then also there's the other end of that spectrum where cinema lenses are extremely expensive, where you can get like a kit of Cook S4s for like $20,000-$30,000. So there's like there's levels to it, just like there's levels with still lenses where you can get, you know, different trim levels. There's levels to cinema lenses as well. So it's really subjective, but I'd say there are more inexpensive still lens options than there are inexpensive good cinema lens options, because there are also other manufacturers out there other than SLR Magic, but in my opinion, they don't offer as consistent of a look. You might get a lot of color shifting from lens to lens in the same set. Like I've owned some other lenses in the past, and I had like, you know, a 50 and a 75 mil, and then also 25 mil and a 16 or 14, whatever it was at the time. I had a little kit of cinema lenses, and from lens to lens, I might get a little shift blue here, a little shift green here. Now, from what I've noticed with my use of SLR Magic lenses, and granted I only have these two, the 50 and the 25, I don't have the complete kit yet, but between these two lenses, there's no color shift difference. I get an identical look from lens to lens, which is helpful because you might switch different focal lengths within the same project. So you want to make sure you have a consistent look from lens to lens. And the same can't be said for other inexpensive cinema lenses out there. So this is a good buy. But like I said, cost is subjective. There's different ends of the spectrum, but there are more inexpensive still lenses out there than there are cinema lenses, in my opinion. All right, so I would say the last benefit of a still lens is the duality of it, right? Because of course I have the ability to go autofocus and manual focus, and certain still lenses have really good focus rings. Like this has a nice beefy focus ring for your fingers, so that way you can easily, you know, go back and forth manually if you like. Then also certain video features, like cinema's features, are coming to still lenses. Like with this 85 1.4, there is an aperture ring, so you can easily change the aperture, and it can be clicked or declicked. So you can switch it to click on, and you can actually hear when your aperture changes, or you can switch it to declicked. So if you're using it on, you know, video, you don't want to have those clicks in the audio, so you can easily change the aperture without making noise. So there are a lot of really useful features, and also you have, you know, autofocus lock. So say for instance, if you're filming, you know, a group of people and you don't want the autofocus jumping back and forth, you can lock it on one plane. So if you pick up your focus point, you hold down this button, and then the focus is locked. So a lot of cool features are coming to still lenses to make them, because they recognize that people are using these lenses for video as well, right? So the duality of it is also another benefit, and as technology continues to progress, I could see them adding just even more features that benefit both video and photo. You know, you get optical image stabilization built into a lot of lenses. There's a lot that's added to make it a good buy for video and stills. And most of us as creatives, we're not really in a box. A lot of us like to take pictures, a lot of us like video. So having a lens that can do both is a plus. With that being said, there are other benefits to having a dedicated video cinema lens over a still lens, and of course you can still take photos with this as well that still give you a very cinematic look. So there is the duality to both of them, but I would say that technology is advancing in still lens favor, where you can get a lot of cool video features on still lenses and still get really sharp, clinical, precise, amazing photos. But those are my top 5 reasons why you would use a still lens for video. And if you want to see the counterpart to this video, part 1, where we talk about cinema lenses and using those for video and the benefits of having a cinema lens over a still lens, go ahead and click the link in the description or somewhere on the screen. It'll be posted. But it's been a pleasure as usual, guys. If you've made it this far in the video, I don't know why you're not subscribed. If I've given you some valuable information, slap the like button, leave a comment, let me know you were here. But until next time, guys, it's been a pleasure. Stay fresh. Peace.